Okay.
Oh, what's up, everybody? How you doing? It's me, San Martin, and I am on the scene here at the Prescott Executive Office, as you can see right here. But we got a special guest today, and we want you to tune in, ask questions, and just be a part of this conversation. But first, we got to get this started, and it goes like this.
That we're doing that.
Good friends, good people out there.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? This is obviously a special vlogcast because why not? This is what I like to do. I like to go out there and experience and have questions. And this one obviously came to me and it was a perfect opportunity because we are getting into a crazy season and we call that election season. And this year is kind of a very sentimental thing for us in the community. And that's the reason why you are here. So tell everybody who you are and what is making you famous.
Thank you. I would rather not be on the news. That is my my go-to statement. If we stayed off the news, that means we did a good job. But I am Michelle Burchill, the Yavapai County Recorder. So I help run the elections here in Yavapai. And we are in 2024, and it is going to be the Wild West this year. So we are getting prepped.
And the reason why you're here, and so I could go ahead and say it publicly, I asked some questions, and technically it stirs up a little bit of controversy in our community. And so you actually commented, and you're like, "Hey, what did you get?" And so you did your research, you looked into it, you said you were given this and you were given that. So therefore, you did not get 2 election forms. And so I'm here, ballots. And so I'm here to say that, you know what, when I ask questions like that, it really honestly brings a moment in our community as far as division, confusion, and integrity of our election system. So that's why you're here to answer some questions. So if you guys are out there and you have questions, put them into the comments no matter where you're at. We have this showing in 7 different locations, Prescott Times page, my personal page, the group pages. There's 50,000 in the Prescott group. There's 10,000 in Chino Valley. There's 27,000 in Prescott Valley. So if you guys have questions, this is all for you guys in Yavapai County. So please ask those questions. But until then, I have some questions that you can find on the website, which is, do you have a website by chance?
YavapaiVotes.gov is where you can get information specific to Yavapai County. Clean Elections Arizona is where you can get general election information throughout the state.
Okay, so the first question that everybody probably wants to know, how safe are we?
How safe are elections?
How safe are elections in the community of Yavapai County?
Yavapai County's got it down pretty good. I actually started in elections in early 2020, actually the day of the presidential preference election of 2020. March 17th was my very first day with elections. I had some bad election experiences in the past as a voter, and I decided if I'm going to really know about it, I'm going to walk the walk and actually get into it and see for myself. And I came in, skeptical of, How safe are they? What kind of audit processes do we have? What kind of chain of custody do we have? And I was able to start at the bottom and work my way up. And we've made improvements even since I've been here. But Yavapai County has a very secure system here. And people have to remember elections are done at the county level. So what you hear from another county or even another state is not the same as what Yavapai does. So we actually like it that way because it gives us a little more authority over our processes and how we do things. So you have to take things with a grain of salt when you hear something, say on the internet or social media, such as you did. You put a post out that says, hey, I received two ballots. Do I get to vote them both? For one, we're not in an election right now, so that was an odd thing to say. And we started actually getting calls. My office, we were pretty upset. I was pretty pissed off at him about this.
Sorry, I like to cause questions. Questions are good, as long as there's answers to be made. And you came out of the office and said, hey, I'm going to come to your personal page and call you out. And that's exactly what it's all about. And I was very appreciative of it. So, and that's the reason why you're here today. So we can hash out these questions and hash out the insecurities that our community has had over the years because of media, because of social media, and because of just like, the things that are happening in our government in its entirety. And we could go ahead and be asking those questions in reality. So let's get to some of the questions that we have seen online and also on those posts in regards to here's the first one. I didn't ask for a paper ballot. Why am I getting them?
If you receive a ballot, that means you either signed up to be on the ABLE at some point when you did your registration, or it is a jurisdictional election. Whether or not you are actually a mail-in voter, if there's a jurisdictional election happening, like there was just in this past November, we had City of Prescott, we had Town of Chino Valley, we had Sedona, and we had Ash Fork. So we had 4 elections going on last November. Everybody that's eligible for those jurisdictional elections, they are all mail elections. That's how the law works in Arizona. You can still actually go to my office and vote in person, but everyone receives a ballot. And that actually caused a lot of voter confusion also, because we have people that are saying, hey, why are you sending me a ballot? I'm not on that early ballot list. And we have to explain it's different for a jurisdictional. And then on the other side of that, we had a lot of people, again, on social media saying, hey, I didn't get a ballot. What's wrong? They're messing things up. But if you lived in Prescott Valley, you don't get a ballot. If you lived in an unincorporated area or Yavapai County, not in the city of Prescott, you were not getting a ballot for that. So again, every single thing that has to do with elections, we recommend call and ask us. We are still a small enough county that we answer the phone. Like I will answer the phone
and comment on your personal page.
Yeah. and just shoot us an email, ask the questions, and we will answer. Follow us on our social media. We will try to actually clarify these things. We're working on a big educational series right now where we're taking these hot topic things such as jurisdictionals, such as the presidential preference election, and we're making small videos and explaining it with a visual along with it, with my staff actually explaining this to help educate our voters here in Yavapai.
So give a little description of what you're talking about, the presidential preference scenario. Tell everybody what that means, because I think if you guys voted as an independent, you are required to put your either your Republican or Democrat. Why is that?
So the presidential preference election is actually a different election than anything else in Arizona. And it only comes up every 4 years. This has been like this for a long time. So in 2016 was the last time that both of the major political parties actually participated in this type of election. In 2020, only the Democrat voters, the Democratic Party chose to do this. So with Arizona, we have now a third of our voters are actually independent. And when I say independent, that means not affiliated with a party, consider themselves independent or other, But there is no actual recognized independent party in Arizona. So when we have a third of our population that are voting as an independent, normally for a traditional primary, which we will have this year in August, that is when they actually will have an opportunity to choose, I want to vote this party's ballot or this party's ballot. It's called an open primary. Right now, with the presidential primaries happening in Arizona, we have what's called a presidential preference election. And this is a closed primary, which means everyone that is not affiliated with the specific parties who opted to be a part of this election, they do not get to vote in it. So everybody had an opportunity. The libertarians could have, no labels could have, obviously no independent party. So right now it's only Democratic and Republican voters who will get to vote, because it's the Democratic Party and the Republican Party that are holding an election. We administer it for them. So March 19th is the presidential preference election. This is the time that the parties are asking Arizona and every other state, who do you want to see as the president, the nominee for your party come November? So they're primarying against each other throughout. You've seen the caucuses just happen last week in Iowa. So every state, again, does it differently. So what's going to happen is Arizona Republicans and Democrats are going to vote March 19th or do early voting. And that nominee is going to be, all those delegates are going to be taken to the national conventions for those political parties, which come up in early summer. And then the RNC and the DNC are going to actually choose who that nominee is going to be for November.
And so in November, whether you register or not for the early kind of like voting, you could be whatever you want during November?
November, everything leading up to November, from this election to the primary, everybody is battling it out to make it to the November ballot. So when November comes, everybody, you can cross-party vote. That's when it's the winner of the Republican sides, the winner of the Dem sides, libertarians, Green parties now recognized. All of those candidates that made it to that point are going to battle it out, and everyone can choose, no matter what party they are, to select who they feel is best to represent us.
Wow, it's such a crazy process. Can we just go ahead and just put the people that we want in there, just like without all this confusion? Just kidding. It's great conversation though. These are the things that need to come out, and the way that you guys probably have seen it over the years, or even like acknowledged, like sometimes these things never come out. Like I'm 46 years old and I'm like, how come I didn't know that? And it's probably because I didn't pay attention, and a lot of people don't pay attention. What is the actual a number of voters that come out of Yavapai County? Do you have that number?
For the 2022 election, we had 124,871 ballots cast. We have the highest voter participation in the state of Arizona. Yavapai County does. We are engaged voters. We want to vote. We get excited about it. We carry that flame, and we're happy about it. Consistently, Yavapai County overwhelmingly participates in the voting process, and we love that. We are expecting a huge turnout for 2024. This is a general election year, a presidential year, so people are now, again, paying attention to voting. You know, the off-year elections, a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm not going to participate, or what's the point in that? It always comes down to the presidential. And anybody who is recognized as an independent voter right now, if you want to participate in the presidential preference election, or the PPE we call it, you have until February 20th is the voter registration cutoff date. You can hop on servicearizona.com, click on voter registration, and update your registration to choose which party you'd like to be affiliated with. If you prefer to stay independent, or, you know, with a different party, you can actually change your voter registration back after this election.
I mean, make sure I spell that. Service, SERVICEARIZONA.com.
Right. So it's the MVD website.
Okay.
And there's a blue button right on there that says register to vote. And it takes about 2 minutes. It's very simple to change your voter registration. And you're pretty much changing your party. And afterwards, you can change it back.
Yep. And it seems to be like the same easy process in general.
Yep.
All right, cool. So, guys, if you have questions, please ask them. I'm going to go keep on asking questions because I think that, once again, the integrity is in our hands and your hands, especially. When we talked on the phone, there was something that you said that really resonates. Is like, why did you want to be in this position?
So I came from out of state in 2017. And my 2016 voter experience, I just was not, I wasn't comfortable with it. I felt like there were just some weird things going on. I was starting to pay more attention to elections and politics and things like that. And I really started getting concerned about, what the processes were. And so I just decided, I put it in the universe that night that I voted. And I said, mark my words, somehow, some way, I'm going to put it in the universe that I will work in elections. And I relocated here before my daughter went to high school. And in 2020, I actually had just accepted a position with the Arizona Department of Economic Security and was scheduled to start in a week. And a position popped up for a voter registration specialist. And something just told me, I have to at least go to the interview, right? I just wanted to at least get in the room, right? Because I have all these things I'm imagining in my head about what all this is. And I went in, I got hired on the spot. I took a really big pay cut, had to go home and tell my husband, hey, I think we need to make some, major changes with our lifestyle because I've had a calling for it. And the day I got in, everything I thought I knew about the process, I was humbly made aware that I don't know. And I've kind of been sold on it ever since. And wow. I eat, sleep, and breathe elections.
So when you wanted to go ahead and be in this position, what actually triggered you to say, hey, this is where I need to be? Like, what was the actual push? If you're able to go ahead and say publicly, what was that actual, I need to be in this position?
Well, this position that I'm sitting in now, I had no intentions of ever doing. I prayed about it and I told God, lead me where I feel like I should be, and certain doors opened. Unfortunately, and I understand why, the public has been very discouraged by what we've seen in elections in the past. And unfortunately, that's even been here in Yavapai County. And my predecessor experienced some really unfortunate situations with people not treating us very well, being very aggressive, threatening to the point of having to leave. And in 2022, within 59 days, the elections director, the county recorder, and the elections manager quit right before the 2022 elections. And I had started at the bottom as a voter reg specialist. I became the executive assistant to the recorder, and then the manager left. And so I switched to the election side, did that. And as soon as I accepted that job, the elections director quit. So it was kind of like a perfect storm. And everybody said, what are we going to do? And people started looking at me and said, hey, why don't you try for this? And I prayed about it, like I said. And, I thought if I put my mind to it and I give my 100%, I'm sure we could get through this. And my whole thing, like I said at the beginning, I think as long as we're staying out of the news, we're doing a good job, right? And I did everything physically made myself sick in 2022. I worked 70 days straight. No overtime. I don't get paid a lot for this position. Most of my staff actually gets paid more than I do because I'm an elected official now. And so it's different. And I worked 70 days straight, every Saturday, every Sunday, in the warehouse, in the office. And I was killing myself to make sure we made it through 2022 without any issues. And I will be doing that again this year. I am hands-on. If somebody needs help signature verifying, if somebody needs help doing any part of this process, I'm there with my staff doing it. And that's my way of saying I'm in the room and I'm overseeing it, and I'm going to be held accountable if something goes wrong.
This is actually a very big task, and you talk about your predecessors in regards to what happened to them. I mean, it just face it, the community in the whole world were like, what is going on?
Right.
And here's the other big question: how do we know that the computers themselves are actually going to do their job? And who is running that position in the computer world, and who's running that information? I mean, these are questions that need to be asked, and if we don't know because we think that everybody is a conspiracy, or everything is a conspiracy, then guess what? Everything is going to be a perpetrator.
Right, absolutely. So one thing to remember, again, when elections get down to the county level, Arizona has 15 counties. We have Maricopa County, who has their own election management system. They use what's called Dominion voting. I'm sure a lot of people paying attention to elections here or know of that company. And then 13 counties use what's called ES&S, which is another pretty big election company. And then Yavapai right now uses what's called Unison Voting Solutions. So we actually all have different election systems. Yavapai uses a smaller one. And what you have to remember with how Arizona elections are is people see me as the face, right? Because I'm the one out there in the community talking. I am the elected position, well, appointed right now, but I will be on the ballot this year. I will respect the outcome of the vote. If somebody runs against me and I lose, I will accept the outcome of that. But what happens is I oversee a very specific side of the election. Under the county recorder, I am responsible for early voting, for voter registration, for signature verification, for drop boxes, UOCAVA voters, which is our military and overseas voters. We make sure to get military. If you are serving out of the country, if you are in combat, there are ways we can actually still make sure our military personnel are able to vote, and we take special exceptions.
And that's if they're
for
residents
them.
of Yavapai.
Yep, and it has to be the last place that they lived. They may be out of the country for 15 years, and they can still use that address. We make those exceptions because they're the ones out there fighting for our country. So I oversee all of that side of the election, right? And early voting. So if you want to vote in person, early voting for the March PPE starts February 21st, the day after voter registration ends. You can come to my office on Fair Street. You could go to Cottonwood, and then we have a early voting site with the town of Prescott Valley. And what happens is everybody that votes early or returns a vote by mail ballot comes through me. We have to do our signature verification. We have to do all of our audit processes. What happens from there is it gets transferred to the elections department. A lot of people, again, assume I oversee the elections. I oversee a portion of the elections. The Board of Supervisors appoints an elections director. Her name is Lauren Custis. She actually oversees the elections department, which involves election day voting, all of the vote centers, candidates. If you file a run for office, she's in charge of that. The petitions, she's the one, her people are the ones that build the ballot. And everybody assumes we all get the same ballot. No, it's not that easy. We had about 400 different styles of ballot for the primary election in 2022.
Why is it?
Because every single person lives in a specific area, and there are layers to it. So let's say we all live in Legislative District 1, but we have 5 county supervisors and 5 different supervisor districts. We have several different school districts. We have several different fire districts, cities and towns. All of those things are layers. And we may live across the street from each other, but you're in Humboldt School District. I'm in Prescott School District. All of those things actually make a different style of ballot. So we're not just building one ballot with, say, 35 races on it. We're building hundreds of ballots because each individual jurisdiction or candidate or office that's running is dependent on where somebody lives.
That's kind of crazy because a lot of people will go out there and they will like say, "Oh, well, if you could go ahead and get somebody to vote like this, it should be that easy inside of the inside of this voting scenario." But to listen to that is like that is kind of true. I mean, there's a lot of things that are coming to you guys, and you guys have to decipher from all of it.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. So it's a big thing. And then from there, Lauren's side, the election side, are the ones that actually tabulate the ballots. So when I talk about Unison is our EMS system, what that means is that is the secure system that is in the room on Fair Street. We are what's called central count. So all of the ballots that come in, everything goes to Fair Street in our office. We actually just did a remodel. Our county board of supervisors, after I was appointed, we all worked together and said, what can we do to help with transparency? What can we do to help with our community? We're talking just Yavapai, because we all came here because Yavapai is a beautiful place to live, and you can still go to like a grocery store and someone will talk to you. Like, I love that about this community. And we've seen that politics and this distrust, we've seen a divide, and we're working to find a way to bring that back. We can't fix everything in the state or the country, but we can do our damnedest to fix what we can in Yavapai. So if you want to actually see what's happening, you can come and do a tour. We have follow your ballot tours. I'll show you your specific election, your voter profile in Avid. And I'll show you how it goes through the process. Actually, you would be a great one to do that with. And you can actually see everything.
That's the reason why you're here, because we got some following.
Right. And then you can also go online 24 hours a day during the election cycle, and you can watch us in that room doing the tabulation. And when I say us, I mean elections. I don't oversee that department. I did in 2022 because we had a mass exodus of people.
Who oversees it this year?
So it's Lauren Custis. So she's the elections director. So once I get done with what I have to do with the ballots.
Is she a voting in, or is this an actual
She's
hire?
Appointed by the Board of Supervisors.
So Yavapai County Board of Supervisors.
Yep. And I will transfer all of the early voting ballots that I oversee to her. So she will actually be the one to tabulate online. You can watch it. You can see us in there laughing, crying, dancing. Sometimes we're just,
The emotional roller coaster.
There's
Yavapai
absolutely an emotional roller coaster.
And that's right there on Fair Street, or do you guys have another location?
It's on Fair Street on the second floor, and it is a secure room. There's windows. If you came just to watch, you can watch. The parties have observers there pretty much the entire time, watching, asking questions, making sure we're doing it right. And then at the end of the election, that her system, her department tells me there's this many ballots that were cast. My side is the one that actually shows who voted, right? Because I'm in charge of the voter registration system. It's called AVID, the Arizona Voter Information Database. My numbers have to match her numbers, and our systems don't talk. And that allows us to audit each other. If she comes out and she has more ballots somehow, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong. And I'm going to call her out, and she's going to call me out, because we need to figure out what happened. So it is done really, really smartly. And then after the election, when you say, how can we verify, right? You say, trust but verify. After the election, usually the Saturday after the Tuesday election, the political parties, the chair of the Republican and Democrat Party for Yavapai County, and potentially the Libertarians, if they want to, or any of the other political parties, can participate.
There's a leader for the Libertarian Party?
There is. We actually, when I...
Who don't know?
Yeah, right. There's not very many Libertarians. I think it's like under 3,000 here right now. But every month I chose, we're going to do this together. We should all be on the same side when it comes to making sure our county and our voters have the right to vote their ballots. So every month, myself, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the Libertarians, and a few independents sit in a room every month, and we talk through everything. And I am all about bringing up the elephants in the room or the hot topics. And I'm at the point now where I feel like whether you agree or disagree with me politically, when I'm in that chair, I want to make sure every voter has their voice heard. And if I'm making decisions on making a change to a process or enhancing a process, you'll know why I'm doing it. I'm weighting those decisions, and I'm, thinking through them, and I'm talking with the political parties and giving them a heads up, because I heard a lot of, feedback from them over the last couple of years of, like, you throw something on at last minute, or you didn't, everybody wants a voice. And I'm looking at this in a way now where I want to give them a voice.
This is awesome. I mean, everything needs to come into light, and for you to have all those meetings and have that transparency going, it's very awesome. And so we really do appreciate you guys watching. I'm surprised you guys are not asking any more questions. And I see a couple of your stuff right there. And Facebook user says, "Hey, wow, thank you for all you do. You're amazing. God bless you." Another Facebook user, obviously a little bit on the crazy list. Okay, might as well say it. Biden cheated, Hops cheated. I'll say it just because I want to say that I hear you. When is someone going to have a NASA guy committed? Obviously, totally irrelevant for this conversation. Yeah. But
I don't know who the NASA guy is.
He's the guy that drives around in the NASA as the hoax.
Oh, yeah. I saw a Christmas ornament that somebody made with him, and I was like, "Oh, that's Prescott."
He's definitely a celebrity now, whether he likes it or not. He is. But anyways, this is a great conversation, and then everybody should keep this conversation going, because election season is going to be going hot. And the last thing that I would hate to see in Prescott, Arizona, is division amongst our community. And to be honest, I hate politics. Politics are not really my thing, and it's because it just brings division in our community. With closing statements, what would you want the community to hear?
I would love if every Yavapai County voter, for one, come to our website, follow our Facebook page. You're going to get the information straight from the source. You are going to hear so much information coming from radio, from TV, from social media. And remember, elections are done at a county level. So don't trust everything that you hear. Trust it from the source. If you have questions, call us. We will answer the phone. Go to our website, email us. Here's something that I think every voter should do to ensure that your information is accurate and correct. Don't trust me on that. Trust and verify for yourself. If you go to my.arizona.vote, spelled out, that is where you can actually log into your voter profile from the state's website, and you can actually make sure your address is correct. If you have a suite number or a apartment number, you can verify what your voter registration is right now. Are you a Republican? Are you an independent? Whatever it is. You can actually verify where your vote center locations are. You can see how you voted in the past. You can see who your representatives are, from the legislative side to local government. Lots and lots of information on there. But I want you to do that early so that if something is wrong or incorrect, you have the time to actually get it fixed before that cutoff, especially for the upcoming elections, because there's registration cutoffs where you get to a point where you can't make changes once we're in the election. So that's something I really strongly think it's a very good tool, and it gives the voter that chance to see for themselves and verify their information.
Well, thank you for coming out and being transparent, and also getting involved and nipping the rumor mill in the butt. Is it the butt or the butt?
Actually, one more thing.
Go ahead.
Okay, one more thing. So when he put his post out that got us to the situation, he said, "I received 2 ballots. Can I vote them both?" And we verified they were actually 2 separate ballots from 2 separate elections. But there are circumstances where you can receive more than 1 ballot. If, let's say, we are in the middle of or at the beginning of an election cycle, we have to get all of those vote by mail voters their ballots. So we have to actually have that list ready several days, about a week in advance from being sent out in the mail. And let's say within that week, somebody changes their voter registration from, say, an independent to a Dem or whatever the circumstances. It's going to cancel that active ballot that we have being ready to be sent, and we can't go pull it back out because it's, going through the process. And that's going to be a dead ballot is what we would call it. It's going to still go to your house, but then the system is going to make a new one with that updated information. We've had somebody come in with their dog, actually brought the dog into our office, a golden retriever, and he said, my dog ate my ballot, literally ate my ballot. And we can actually make a new ballot for them, and it cancels the old one. You could do that up to 3 times with Arizona law. So if you do get a ballot or you don't get a ballot, we can actually replace that ballot and kill the one that's in our system, and it can't be voted.
And so every ballot is actually numbered and also, what would you call it? Numbered and also
like tied to the voter.
Yeah, so that if that is gone, then you just X out that number ballot, and so you can't reprocess it.
Exactly.
So
even if it came
somebody
out.
comes in and decides to go ahead and raid your mailbox, and that ballot's in there, they can't just like fill it out and just throw it in the mail. Okay.
Correct.
Well, this is what it's all about: transparency and also letting everybody know what's going on. And if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to the Yavapai County Recorder's Office and give them the email that they can go ahead and reach out to, or the website.
Yeah. Again, website is yavapaivotes.gov. And if you have any questions regarding voter registration, you can go to web.voter.registration@yavapaiaz.gov. Or you can email me directly at michelle.burchill@yavapaiaz.gov.
And we'll go ahead and try to put them all into the comments list so you guys can have that for you. But for now, we got to go because she got things to do because she's preparing for the elections that are going to be coming up. And obviously, I don't know what you guys are doing at this time of the day. Don't you guys got a job? Just kidding. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace, love, and happiness. Let it not be war. And remember, love always wins. Make sure you guys do good out there in the community and be good to somebody new today. Bye-bye.
I'm